A kingdom for a stage, princes to act and monarchs to behold the swelling scene. Then should the warlike Carrie like himself assume the port of Mars, while at his heels leashed in like hounds, should famine, sword, and fire crouch for employment. But pardon, gentles, all, this flat, unraised spirits that have dared on this unworthy platform to bring forth so great an object. For can this cockpit hold the vasty fields of France? Or may we cram within this wooden O the very casks that did affright the air at Agincourt? Oh, pardon, since a crooked figure may in little place attest a million. And let us, ciphers in this great account on your imaginary forces work. Suppose within the girdle of these walls are now confined two mighty monarchies, whose high, upraised, and abutting fronts the perilous, narrow ocean parts asunder. Piece out our imperfections with your thoughts. Into 1,000 parts divide one man. Think when we talk of horses that you see them, for 'tis your thoughts which now must deck our kings. Carry them here and there, jumping o'er time, turning the accomplishment of many years into an hourglass. For the which supply admit me chorus to this history, who prologue like your humble patience pray, gently to hear, kindly to judge our play.
My lord, I'll tell you.
Is that self-bill urged?
Which in the 11th year of the last king's reign was like, and had indeed against us passed, but the scrambling and unquiet time did push it out of farther question.
But how, my lord, shall we resist it now?
It must be thought on. If it pass against us, we lose the better half of our possession.
This will drink deep.
To drink the cup and all.
But what prevention?
The king is full of grace and fair regard.
A true lover of the Holy Church.
The courses of his youth promised it not. The breath no sooner left his father's body than that his wildness, mortified in him, seemed to die too. Yet at that very moment, consideration, like an angel came and whipped the offending Adam out of him, leaving his body as a paradise to envelop and contain celestial spirits. Never was a more sudden scholar made as in this king.
We are blessed in the change.
Hear him but reason in divinity, and all admiring with an inward wish he would desire the king were made a prelate. Hear him debate of commonwealth affairs, and you would say it hath been all in all his study. List his discourse of war, and you shall hear a fearful battle rendered you in music. Turn him to any cause of policy, the Gordian knot of it he will unloose, familiar as his garter. Which is a wonder how his grace should glean it, since his addiction was to courses vain, his companies unlettered, rude, and shallow, his hours filled with banquets, riots, sports, and never noted in him any study.
But my good lord, how now for mitigation of the bill urged by the Commons? Doth his majesty incline to it or no?
He seems indifferent, or rather, swaying more upon our part than cherishing the exhibitors against us. For I have made an offer to his majesty.
How did this offer seem received, my lord?
With good acceptance of his majesty, save that there was not time enough to hear.
What was the impediment that broke this off?
The French ambassador upon that instant craved an audience. And the hour, I think, has come to give him hearing. Is it 4 o'clock?
It is.
Then go we in to know his embassy, which I could with a ready guess declare before the Frenchmen speak a word of it.
I will wait upon you, and I long to hear it.
Where is my gracious Lord of Cambridge?
God and his angels, guard your sacred throne, and may you long become it.
Shall we call in the ambassador, my liege?
Not yet, my cousin. We would be resolved before we hear of some things of weight that task our thoughts concerning us in France. My learned lord, we pray you to proceed and justly and religiously unfold why the law Salic that they have in France should, or should not, bar us in our claim. And God forbid, my dear and faithful lord, that you should fashion, wrest, or bow your reading. For God doth know how many now in health shall drop their blood in approbation of what your reverence shall incite us to. Therefore take heed how you impugn our person, how you awake our sleeping sword of war. For never two such kingdoms did contend without much fall of blood. Under this conjuration, speak, my lord, And we will hear, note, and believe in heart that what you speak is in your conscience, washed as pure as sin with baptism.
Then hear me, gracious sovereign, and you peers who owe yourselves and your lives to this imperial throne. There is no bar to be made against your highness's claim to France.
May I with right and conscience make this claim.
Gracious lord, stand for your own. Unwind your bloody flag. Look back into your mighty ancestors. Go, my dread lord, to your great-grandsire's tomb, from whom you claim. Invoke his warlike spirit. O noble Englishman that could entertain with half the forces the full pride of France, and let another half stand laughing by, all out of work and cold for action.
Awake remembrance of these valiant dead, and with your puissant arm renew their feats. You are their heir, you sit upon their throne.
Your brother, kings, and monarchs of the earth do all expect that you should rouse yourself, as did the former lions of your blood.
They know your grace hath cause and means and might. So hath your highness. Never king of England had nobles richer or subjects more loyal, whose hearts have left their bodies here in England and lie pavilioned in the fields of France.
Oh, let their bodies follow, my dear liege, with blood and sword and fire to win your right. In aid whereof we of the nobility will raise your highness such a mighty sum as never did the nobles at one time bring into any of your ancestors. Therefore, to France, my dear liege.
Call in the messenger sent from the Dauphin. Now are we well resolved. By God's help and yours, the noble sinews of our power, France being ours, will bend it to our all, or break it all to pieces. There we'll sit, ruling in large and ample empery o'er France and all her almost kingly dukedoms. Or lay these bones in an unworthy urn, tombless, with no remembrance over them. Either our history shall with full mouth speak freely of our acts, or else our grave shall have a tongueless mouth. Now are we well prepared to hear the pleasure of our fair cousin Dauphin, for we hear your greeting is from him, not from the king.
Will it please your majesty to give us leave freely to render what we have in charge, or shall we sparingly show you far off the Dauphin's meeting and our embassy?
We are no tyrant, but a Christian king. Therefore, with frank and uncurred plainness, tell us the Dauphin's mind.
Thus then, in few, your highness, lately sending into France, did claim some certain dukedoms in the right of your great predecessor, King Edward the Third. In answer of which claim, the Prince our master says that you savor too much of your youth, and bids you be advised there's not in France that can be with a nimble galliard one. You cannot revel into dukedoms there. He therefore sends you, meter for your spirit, this ton of treasure, and in lieu of this, desires that you let the dukedoms that you claim hear no more of you. This the Dauphin speaks.
What treasure, uncle?
Tennis balls, my liege.
We are glad the Dauphin is so pleasant with us. His present and your pains we thank you for. When we have matched our rackets to these balls, we will in France, by God's grace, play a set that shall strike his father's crown into the hazard. Tell him he hath made a match with such a wrangler that all the courts of France shall be disturbed with chases. We understand him well. How he comes o'er us with our wilder days, not measuring what use we made of them. We never valued this poor seed of England, and therefore living hence did give ourselves to barbarous license, as 'tis ever common that men are merriest when they are from home. But tell the Dauphin I will keep my state, be like a king, and show my sail of greatness when I do rouse me in my throne of France. And tell the pleasant prince this mock of his hath turned his balls to gunstones, and his soul shall stand sore charged with the wasteful vengeance that shall fly with them. For many a thousand widows shall this his mock from their dear husbands, mock mothers from their sons, mock castles down. And some are yet ungotten and unborn that shall have cause to curse the Dauphin's scorn. Tell you the Dauphin I am coming on, to venge me as I may, and to put forth my rightful hand in a well-hallowed cause. So get you hence in peace, and tell the Dauphin his jest will savour but of shallow wit, when thousands more weep than did laugh at it. Convey them with safe conduct. Fare you well.
This was a merry message.
We hope to make the sender blush at it. Therefore, my lords, omit no happy hour that may give furtherance to our expedition. We have now no thought in us but France. Therefore, let every man now task his thought, that this fair action may on foot be brought.
Now all the youth of England are on fire, and silken dalliance in the wardrobe lies. Now pride the armorers, and honor's thought reigns solely in the breast of every man. They sell the pasture now to buy the horse, for now sits expectation in the air. The French, advised by good intelligence of this most dreadful preparation, shake in their fear, and with pale policy seek to divert the English purposes. O England, model to thy inward greatness, like little body with a mighty heart. What mightst thou do, that honor would thee do, if all thy children were kind and natural? But see thy fault. France hath in thee found out a nest of hollow bosoms, which he fills with treacherous crowns. And two corrupted men, one noble Earl of Cambridge, and the second, Sir Thomas Grey, Knight of Northumberland, have for the guilt of France, oh guilt indeed, confirmed conspiracy with fearful France. And by their hands this grace of kings must die if hell and treason hold their promises, ere he take ship for France and in Southampton. Linger your patience on, and we'll digest the abuse of distance, force of play. The sick king is set from London, and be seen is now transported, gentles, to Southampton. There is the playhouse now, there must you sit. And thence to France shall we convey you safe and bring you back, charming the narrow seas to give you gentle pass. For if we may, we'll not offend one's stomach with our play. Unto Southampton do we shift our scene.
Well met, Corporal Nim.
Good morrow, Lieutenant Bardolph.
What? Are Ancient Pistol and you friends yet?
For my own part, I care not. I say little, but when time shall serve, there shall be smiles, but that shall be as it may. I dare not fight, but I will wink and hold out mine iron.
I will bestow a breakfast to make you friends, and we'll be all three sworn brothers to France. Let it be so, good Corporal Nim.
Things must be as they may. Men may sleep, and they may have their throats about them at that time, and some say knives have edges. It must be as it may. Though patience be a tired mare, yet she will plod. There must be conclusion.
Here comes Ancient Pistol. Good Corporal, be patient here.
How now, mine host Pistol?
Base, Ike, calls me thou host. Now, by this hand, I swear I scorn the term.
Good Lieutenant, good Corporal, offer nothing here.
You shog off, I would have you solace.
Solace, egregious dog. Oh, viper vile, the solace in thy most merveillous face, the solace in thy teeth, and in thy throat, and in thy hateful lungs, yea, in thy maw, and which is worse, in thy nasty mouth. I do retort the solace in thy bowels, for I can take, and Pistol's cock is up, and flashing fire will follow.
If you grow foul with me, Pistol, I will scour you with my rapier as I may in fair terms. If you would walk off, I would prick your guts a little in good terms as I may. That's the humor of it.
Braggart vile and damn furious wight, the grave doth gape, and doting death is near. Therefore, exhale!
Hear me what I say! He that strikes the first stroke, I will run him up to the hilts as I am a soldier.
An oath of mickle might, and fury shall abate.
I will cut thy throat, one time or other.
Come! Shall I make you two friends? We must to France together. Why the devil should we keep knives? To cut one another's throats?
Let floods o'erswell, and fiends for food howl on.
You'll pay me the 8 shillings I one of you had bet.
Base is the slave that pays.
That now I will have, and that's the humor of it.
Its manhood shall compound. Push home.
No, Corporal Nim. And thou wilt be friends? Be friends. And thou wilt not? Why then, be enemies with me too. Okay? Pretty, put up!
I shall have my 8 shillings I one of you had betting.
A noble shalt thou have in present pay. And liquor likewise will I give to thee. And friendship shall combine, and brotherhood. I will live by Nim, and Nim shall live by me. Is not this just? Give me thy hand.
I shall have my noble.
In cash, most justly paid.
Well then, that's the humor of it.
For God, his grace is bold to trust these traitors.
They shall be apprehended by and by. The king hath known all that they intend, by interception which they dream not of.
How smooth and even they do bear themselves, as if allegiance in their bosom sat, crowned with faith and constant law.
That they should, for a foreign purse, so sell their sovereign's life to death and treachery.
Now sits the wind fair, and we will aboard. My lord of Cambridge, and you, my gentle knight, give me your thoughts. Think you not that the forces we bear with us shall cut their passage through the powers of France, doing the execution in the act for which we have and had assembled them?
No doubt, my liege. If each man do his best.
We doubt not that. Since we are well persuaded, we carry not a heart with us from hence, that grows not in fair consent with ours, nor leave not one behind, that doth not wish success and conquest to attend on us.
Never was monarch better feared or loved than is your majesty. There's not, I think, a subject that sits in heart grief and uneasiness under the sweet shade of your government.
True. Those that were your father's enemies have steeped their galls in honey, and do serve you with hearts creative duty and of zeal.
We therefore have great cause of thankfulness, and shall forget the office of our hand sooner than the quittance of desert and merit, according to weight and worthiness.
So service shall with steeled sinews toil, and labor shall refresh itself with hope, to do your grace incessant services.
We judge no less. Uncle of Exeter, enlarge that man committed yesterday that railed against our person. We consider it was excess of wine that set him on, and on his more advice, we do pardon him.
That's mercy. But too much security. Let him be punished, sovereign, lest example breed by his sufferance more of such a kind.
Oh, let us yet be merciful.
So may your highness and yet punish too.
You show great mercy if you give him life, after the taste of much correction.
If little faults proceeding on distemper shall not be winked at, how shall we stretch our eye when capital crimes, chewed, swallowed, and digested, appear before us? We'll yet enlarge that man, though Cambridge and Grey, in their dear care and tender preservation of our person, would have him punished. But on to our French causes. Who are the late commissioners?
I won, my lord. Your highness bade me ask for it today.
So did you me, my liege.
Then my noble Earl of Cambridge, here is yours. And Sir Knight Grey of Northumberland, this self-same yours. Read them and know. I know your worthiness. My lord of Westmoreland and Uncle Exeter, we will aboard tonight. Why, how now, gentlemen? What see you in those papers there that you lose so much complexion? What read you there that hath so cowarded and chased your blood out of appearance?
Do confess my fault, and do commit me to your highness' mercy.
To which we appeal.
You must not dare, for shame, to talk of mercy. The mercy that was quickened but late by your own counsels is suppressed and killed. See you, my princes and my noble peers, these English monsters. What shall I say to thee, Lord Grey? Thou cruel, ingrateful, savage, and inhuman creature. You know how apt our love was in accord to furnish him with all appertainments belonging to his honor. And this man hath, for a few light crowns, lightly conspired and sworn unto the practices of France to kill us here in Hampton. But oh, my lord of Cambridge, thou that didst bear the key of all my counsels, that knew the very bottom of my soul, may it be possible that foreign hire can out of thee extract one spark of evil that might annoy my finger? 'Tis so strange that the truth of it stands off as gross as black and white. My eye will scarcely see it. And whatsoever cunning fiend it was that wrought out of thee so preposterously, as the voice in hell for excellence, all other devils that do suggest by treasons, do botch and bungle up damnation, with patches, colors, and with forms being fetched from the glistering semblances of piety. But he that tempered thee, bade thee stand up, gave thee no instance why thou shouldst do treason, unless to dub thee with the name of traitor. I will weep for thee. For this revolt of thine, methinks, is like another fall of man. Their faults are open. Arrest them to the answer of the law, and God acquit them of their practices.
Never did faithful subject more rejoice at the discovery of most dangerous treason than I do at this hour joy over myself, prevented from a damned enterprise, my fault, but not my body, ardent sovereign.
For me, the gold of France did not seduce. Although I did admit it as a motive, the sooner to effect what I intended. But God be thanked for prevention, which I in sufferance heartily will rejoice, beseeching God and you to pardon me.
God quit you in his mercies. Hear your sentences. You have conspired against our royal person, joined with an enemy proclaimed, and from his coffers received the golden earnest of our death, wherein you would have sold your king to slaughter, his princes and peers to servitude, his subjects to oppression and contempt, and his whole kingdom into desolation. Touching our person, we seek no revenge, but we our kingdom's safety must so tender, whose ruin you have sought, that unto her laws we do deliver you. Get you therefore hence, poor miserable wretches, to your death, the taste whereof God in his mercy grant you patience to endure, and true repentance of all your dear offenses. Bear them hence. Now, my lords, for France! Young out of a fair and lucky war, since God so graciously hath brought to light this dangerous treason lurking in our way. Cheerly! To sea! The signs of our advance! No king of England, if not king of France.
Thus comes the English with full power upon us, and more than carefully it concerns us to answer royally in our defences. Therefore the Dukes of Berry and Bretagne, of Brabant and of Orleans shall make forth, and you, Prince Dauphin, with all swift dispatch, to line and new repair our towns of war with men of courage and means defended.
My most redoubted father, it is most meet we arm us against the foe, for peace itself should not so dull a kingdom. The war, nor no known quarrel were in question, but that defences, musters, preparations should be maintained, assembled, and collected as were a war in expectation. Therefore, I say, 'tis meet we all go forth to view the sick and feeble parts of France, and let us do it with no show of fear, with no more than if we heard that England were busy with a Whitsun Morris dance. For my good liege, she is so idly kinged, her sceptre so fantastically borne by a vain, giddy, shallow, humorless youth, that fear attends her not.
Oh, peace, Prince Dauphin. You are too much mistaken in this king. Question your grace the late ambassadors, with what great state he heard their embassy, how well supplied in noble counselors, how modest in exception, and withal how terrible in constant resolution, and you shall find his vanities forespent were but the outside of the Roman Brutus, covering discretion with a coat of folly.
'Tis not so, my Lord High Constable. But though we think it so, it is no matter. In cases of defense, 'tis best to weigh the enemy more mighty than he seems.
Think we, King Harry, strong. And princes, look you strongly armed to meet him. The kindred of him hath been fleshed upon us, and he is bred out of that bloody strain that haunted us in our familiar paths.
Ambassadors from Harry, King of England, do crave admittance to your majesty.
We shall give them present audience. Go, bring them. You see this chase is hotly followed, friends.
Good, my sovereign. Take up the English short, and show them of what a monarchy you are the head. Self-love, my liege, is not so vile a sin as self-neglecting.
From our brother England.
From him, and thus he greets your majesty. He wills you, in the name of God Almighty, that you divest yourself, and lay apart the borrowed glories, that by gift of heaven, law of nature, and of nations, long to him and to his heirs. by customs and ordinance of times, unto the crown of France. That you may know 'tis no sinister nor no awkward claim, picked from the wormholes of long days vanished, nor from the dust of old oblivion raked. He sends you this most memorable line, in every branch truly demonstrative. Willingly overlook this pedigree, and when you find him evenly derived from his most famed of famous ancestors, Edward III, he bids you then resign your crown and kingdom, indirectly held from him, the native and true challenger.
Or else what follows?
Bloody constraint. For if you hide the crown, even in your hearts, there will he rake for it. Therefore in fierce tempest he is coming, and he bids you in the bowels of the Lord deliver up the crown. And have mercy on the poor souls whom this hungry war opens his vasty jaws, and on your head, hearing the widow's tears, the orphan's cries, the dead man's blood, the pining maiden's groans for husbands, fathers, and betrothed lovers that shall be swallowed in this controversy. This is his claim, this is his threatening, and my message. Unless the Dauphin be in presence here, who I expressly bring greeting to.
For us, we shall consider of this further. Tomorrow will you bear our full intent back to brother England.
For the Dauphin, I stand here for him. What to him from England?
Scorn and defiance, slight regard, contempt, and anything that may not misbecome the mighty sender he doth prize you at. Thus says my king, and if your father's highness do not grant all demands at large, sweeten the bitter mock you sent his majesty. He'll call you to so hot an answer of it, that caves and woomy voltages of France shall chide your trespass and return your mock in second accent of his ordinance.
Saying, if my father render fair return, it is against my will, for I desire nothing but odds with England. To that end, as matching to his youth and vanity, I did present him with the Paris bulls.
He'll make your Paris Louvre shake for it. And be assured, you'll find a difference, as we his subjects have in wonder found, between the promise of his greener days and these he masters now. Now he weighs time even to the utmost grain, that you shall read in your own losses if he stay in France.
Tomorrow shall you know our mind at full.
Dispatch us with all speed, lest our king come here himself to question our delay, for he's footed in the land already.
You shall be soon dispatched with fair conditions. A night is but small breath and little pause to answer matters of this consequence.
Thus with imagined wing our swift scene flies, in motion of no less celerity than that of thought. Suppose you have seen the well-appointed king at Hampton Pier embark his royalty and his great fleet. Grapple your thoughts to sternage of this navy, and leave your England as dead midnight still guarded by grandsires, babies, and old women. For who is he whose chin is but enriched with one appearing hair, who will not follow these cold and choice-drawn cavaliers to France? Work your thoughts, and therein see a siege. Behold the ordnance on their carriages, with fatal mouths gaping on girded harfleur. Suppose the ambassador from the French comes back, tells Harry that the king doth offer him, Katherine his daughter, and with her to dowry, some petty and unprofitable dukedoms. The offer likes not, and the nimble gunner now with linstock the devilish cannon touches, and down goes all before them. Still be kind, and eke out our performance with your mind.
Once more unto the breach, dear friends! Once more! We'll close them all up with our English dead! In peace! There's nothing so becomes a man as modest stillness and humility. But when the blast of war blows in our ears, then imitate the action of the tiger, stiffen the sinews, summon up the blood, disguise fair nature with hard-favored rage. Now set the teeth and stretch the nostrils wide, hold hard the breath, and bend up every spirit to his full height. On! On, you noblest English, whose blood was fet from fathers of war-proof. Dishonor not your mothers now. Attest that those whom you call fathers did beget you. be copied out of men of grosser blood, and teach them how to war! And you, good yeomen, whose limbs were made in England, show us now the mettle of your pastures. Let us swear that you are worth your breeding, which I doubt not. For there is none of you so mean and base that hath not noble luster in his eyes. I see you stand like greyhounds in the slips, straining upon the start. The game's afoot. Follow your spirit in upon this charge. Cry God for Harry, England, and St. George!
On to the breach!
Pray thee, Corporal, stay! The knocks are too hot, and for mine own part I have not a case of lives. The humor is too hot, and that is the very plain song of it.
Oh, the plain song is most just for humors do abound. Knocks go and come, got vassals drop and die, sword and shield and bloody field of win the mortal fame.
Oh, would I were in an alehouse in London. I would give all my fame for a pot of ale and safety.
Up to the breach, you dogs, and thank you,
Fluellen, you must come presently to the mines. The Duke of Gloucester would speak with you.
To the mines? Tell you the Duke, it is not so good to come to the mines, for look you, the mines is not according to the disciplines of the war. The concavities of it is not sufficient.
The Duke of Gloucester, to whom the order of the siege is given, is altogether directed by an Irishman, a very valiant gentleman in faith.
It is Captain McMorris, is it not?
I think it be.
Yeah, by Jesu, he is an ass. As in the world, I will verify as much in his beard. He has no more directions in the true disciplines of the wars than a puppy dog. I beseech you now, will you vouchsafe me a few disputations with you as touching the directions of the military disciplines?
It is no time to discourse!
Partly for the satisfaction of my mind.
Thomas beseech you, we are holding the bread!
The town sounds a parley.
I yet resolves the governor of this town. This is the last parley we will admit. Therefore, to our best mercy, give yourselves. Or like to men proud of destruction, defy us to our worst. As I am a soldier, a name that in my thought becomes me best. If I begin the battery once again, I will not leave the half-achieved Harfleur, till in her ashes she lie buried. The gates of mercy shall be all shut up, and the fleshed soldier, rough and hard of heart, in liberty of bloody hand, shall rage with conscience wide as hell, mowing like grass your fresh fair maids and your flowering infants. What is to me, when you yourselves are cause if your pure maids fall into the hot and forcing hand of violation? Therefore, you men of Harfleur, take pity of your town and of your people, whilst yet my soldiers are in my command, whilst yet the cool and temperate wind of grace, or blows the filthy and contagious clouds of heady murder, spoil, and villainy. If not, in a moment look to see the blind and bloody soldier with rough hand defile the locks of your fair daughters, your fathers taken by their silver beards, their most reverend heads dashed to the walls, your naked infants spitted upon pikes, whilst the mad mothers with their howls confused do break the clouds. What say you? Will you yield and this avoid, or guilty in defense be thus destroyed?
Our expectation hath this day an end. The Dauphin, with succors we entreated, turns us that his powers are yet not ready to raise so great a siege. Therefore, great King, we yield our town and lives to thy soft mercy. Enter our gates, dispose of us and ours. We no longer are defensible.
Come, Uncle Exeter. Go you and enter Harfleur. There remain and fortified strongly against the French. Use mercy to them all. Open your gates. For us, dear uncle, with winter coming on and sickness growing amongst our soldiers, we'll retire to Calleigh. Tonight in Harfleur, we'll be your guest. Tomorrow for the march, are we thus addressed?
Elise? dépêche.
On peut, madame.
Je t'ai pris. Monseigneur, il faut que j'apprenne à parler. Comment appelez-vous la main en anglais?
La main, elle est appelée the hand.
De hand. Et les doigts?
Les doigts? Ma foi, j'ai oublié les doigts, mais je me souviendrai. Les doigts, je pense qu'ils sont appelés de fingres. Oui, de fingres.
La main, de hand. Les doigts, du fingre. Je pense que je suis la bonne écolier. J'ai gagné 2 mots dans ma vie. Dites-moi l'anglais pour les ongles.
Les ongles, nous les appelons the nails.
Écoutez, dites-moi si je parle bien. De hand, de fingre et de nails.
C'est bon dit, madame. Elle est fort bonne anglais.
Dites-moi l'anglais pour le bras
The arm, madame.
et le coude.
The elbow.
Écoutez, de hand, du fingre, de nails, de arme et de bimbo.
The elbow, madame.
The elbow. Oh, Seigneur Dieu, je m'en ai oublié. The elbow. Dites-moi l'anglais pour le col
The neck, madame.
et le menton.
Si.
Le col du nick, le menton du cil.
Oui, ça votre honneur. En vérité, vous prononcez les mots trois aussi que le motif d'Angleterre.
Je ne doute point de prendre par la grâce de Dieu et un peu de temps.
N'avez-vous pas déjà oublié ce que vous enseigne?
Non, je réciterai vous promptement. The hand, the finger, the miles,
The nails, madame.
the nails, the arm, the elbow, du nick et du cil. Dites-moi l'anglais pour le pied et la robe.
Du foot, madame, et du coude.
Du foot et du coude. Oh, Seigneur Dieu, ces sont de mots de mauvais quand le petit grand et un petit que nomme les dames leur disait. Je ne voudrais pas prononcer ces mots devant les seigneurs de France, mais tellement, oh, Seigneur Dieu, de foot et de coude. Néanmoins, je réciterai une autre fois, mais laissons ensemble. Du hand, du finger, du nails, du arm, du elbow, du nick, du cil, du foot et du compte.
Excellent, madame.
C'est assez pour une fois, allons-nous à dîner.
To certain he hath passed the river Somme.
And if he be not fought with all, my lords, let us not live in France. Let us quit all and give our vineyard to a barbarous people.
Normans. But bastard Normans. Norman bastards! Montez ma vie. If they march along unfought withal, for I will sell my dukedom to buy a slobbery and a dirty farm in that nook-shot isle of Albion.
Tour de Bretagne, where have they this metal? Is not their climate foggy, raw, and dull? On whom, as in despite, the sun looks pale? Let us not hang like roping icicles, while the more frosty people sweat drops of gallant youth in our rich fields.
By faith and honor, our madams mock at us, and plainly say our metal is bred out, and they will give their bodies to the lust of English youth, to new France with bastard warriors.
Where is Montjoy the herald? Speed her hence. Let her greet England with our sharp defiance. Up, princes, and with spirit of honor edged more sharper than your swords, high to the fields. High dukes, great princes, barons, lords, and knights, for your great seats now quit you of great shames. Bar, harry England, that sweeps through our land with pennants painted in the blood of our floor. Rush on his host, you have power enough. And in a captive chariot into Rouen, bring him our prisoner.
Sorry am I, his numbers are so few. These soldiers sick and famished in their march. For I am sure when he shall see our army, he'll drop his heart into the sink of fear, and for achievement offer us his ransom.
Therefore, Lord Constable, haste on Montjoy, and let her say to England that we send to know what willing ransom he will give. Prince Dauphin, you'll stay with us in Rouen.
Not so, I do beseech you.
Have patience, for you shall remain with us. Now forth, lords and knights and princes all, and quickly bring us word of England's fall.
Now, Fluellen, King's fell from the bridge.
Aye, so it please your majesty. The Duke of Exeter has very gallantly maintained the bridge. The French has gone off, look you, and they're as gallant than most brave passages. Mary, the adversary was to have possession of the bridge, but he is enforced to retire, and the Duke of Exeter is master of the bridge. I can tell your majesty the Duke is a brave man.
What men have you lost, Fluellen?
No, the perdition of the adversary hath been very great. Reasonable great. Mary, for my part, I think the Duke hath lost never a man, but one who is like to be executed for robbing a church. If your majesty know the man, his face is all bugles and welts and knobs and flames of fire.
We would have all such offenders cut off. And we give express charge that in our march to the country, there be nothing compelled from the villages, nothing taken but paid for. For lenity and cruelty play for a kingdom, the gentler gamester is the soonest winner.
You know me by my habit?
Well then I know thee. What shall I know of thee?
My master's mind.
Unfold it.
Thus says my king, say thou to Harry of England. Though we seemed dead, we did but sleep. Advantage is a better soldier than rashness. Tell him we could have rebuked him at Harfleur, but that we thought not good to bruise an injury till it were full ripe. Now we speak upon our cue, and our voice is imperial. England shall repent his folly, see his weakness, and admire our sufferance. Bid him therefore consider of his ransom, which must proportion the losses we have borne, the subjects we have lost, the disgrace we have digested, which, and wait to re-answer, his pettiness would bow under. For our losses, his exchequer is too poor. For the effusion of our blood, the muster of his kingdom too faint a number, and for our disgrace, his own person, kneeling at our feet, but a weak and worthless satisfaction. To this add defiance, and tell him for conclusion he hath betrayed his followers, whose condemnation is pronounced. So far my king and master, so much my office.
What is thy name? I know thy quality.
Montjoy.
How does thy office fairly? Turn thee back and tell thy king we do not seek him now, but could willingly march on the Calleigh without impeachment. For, to say the sooth, though it is no such wisdom to confess so much to an enemy of craft and vantage, my people are with sickness much enfeebled. My numbers lessened, and those few I have almost no better than so many French. Go, therefore, tell your master, here I am. My army is but a weak and sickly guard. My ransom, this frail and worthless trunk. If God before, tell him we will come on, though France himself and another such neighbor stand in our way. Go, bid your master well advise himself. If we may pass, we will. If we be hindered, we will your tawny ground with your red blood discolor. And so, good Montjoy, fare you well. The sum of our answer is but this. We would not seek a battle as we are, nor as we are. We say we will not shun it.
I shall deliver so. Thanks to your highness.
I hope it will not come upon us now.
We are in God's hands, brother, not in theirs. March to the bridge, and now draw us toward that. Beyond the river we'll encamp ourselves, and on tomorrow, bid them march away.
Now, entertain conjecture of a time when creeping murmur and the pouring dark fills the wide vessel of the universe. From camp to camp through the foul womb of night, the hum of either army stilly sounds. Proud of their numbers and secure in soul, the confident and over-lusty French do the low-rated English play at dice, and chide the crippled tardy gait of night that like a foul and ugly witch doth limp so tediously away. The poor condemned English, like sacrifices, by their watchful fires, sit patiently and inly ruminate the morning's danger, their gestures sad investing lank gleam. Cheeks and war-worn coats presented them unto the gazing moon so many horrid ghosts. Oh, now who will Behold the royal captain of this ruined band, walking from watch to watch, from tent to tent. For forth he goes and visits all his host, bids them good morrow with a modest smile, and calls them brothers, friends, and countrymen. Upon his royal face there is no note how dread an army hath enrounded him, but freshly looks and overbears a taint with cheerful semblance and sweet majesty. That every wretch, pining and pale before, beholding him, plucks comfort from his looks. And so our scene must to the battle fly.
Fluellen, 'tis true, we are in great danger. The greater, therefore, should our courage be. There's some soul of goodness in things evil, would men observantly distill it out. For our bad neighbors make us early stirs, which is both healthful and good husbandry. Besides, they are our outward consciences and preachers to us all, admonishing that we should dress us fairly for our end. Good morrow, old Westmoreland! A good soft pillow for that good white head were better than a churlish turf of France.
Not so, my liege. This lodging likes me better, since I may say, now lie I like a king.
It is good for men to love their pains upon example, so the spirit is eased. Lend me that cloak, Westmoreland. Brothers both, commend me to the princes in our camp. Do my good morrow to them, and anon desire them to my pavilion.
We shall, my liege.
Shall I attend your grace?
No, my good knight. I in my bosom must debate a while, and then I would no other company.
God in heaven, bless thee, noble Harry.
God of mercy, old heart. Thou speaks cheerfully.
Qui va là?
A friend.
Discuss unto me. Art thou officer? Or art thou base, common, and popular?
I am a gentleman of the company. Even so, what are you?
As good a gentleman as the emperor.
Then you are better than the king.
Oh, the king is a ballcock, and a heart of gold, a lad of life, an imp of fame, a parent's good, a fist most valiant. I kiss his dirty shoe, and by heartstring, I love the lovely bully. What is thy name?
Harry Leroy.
Leroy, Cornish name. Art thou a Cornish crew?
No, I am a Welshman.
Knowest thou Fluellen?
Yes.
Art thou his friend?
And his kinsman too.
The Figo for thee, then.
My name is Pistol Call.
So it's well with your fierceness.
Right?
Is not that the morning which breaks yonder?
Yeah, I think it be. But we have no great cause to desire the approach of day.
We see yonder the beginning of the day, but I think we shall never see the end of it. Who goes there?
A friend.
Under what captain serve you?
Under Sir Thomas Erping.
A good old commander, and a most kind gentleman. I pray you, what thinks he of our estate?
Even as men wrecked upon the sand that looked to be washed off on the next tide.
He hath not told his thought to the king?
No, nor is it meet he should. For though I speak it to you now, I think the king is but a man as I am. I think the violet smells to him as it doth to me. The element shows to him as it doth to me. All his senses have but human conditions. His ceremonies laid by in his nakedness, he appears but a man. If he sees reason of fears as we do, his fears, out of doubt, must be of the same relish as ours are. Yet in reason, no man should possess him with the appearance of fear, lest he, by showing it, should dishearten his army.
He may show what outward courage he will, but I believe, as cold a night as 'tis, he could wish himself in Thames up to the neck. And so I would he were, and I by him at all adventures, so we were quit here.
I think he would not wish himself anywhere but where he is.
Then I would he were here alone, and so should he be sure to be ransomed, and the many poor men's lives saved.
I dare say you love him not so ill to wish him here alone. I myself thinks I could not die anywhere so contented as in the king's company, his cause being just and his quarrel honorable.
That's more than we know.
Aye, or more than we should seek after, for we know enough. If we know we are the king's subjects, if his cause be wrong, our obedience to the king wipes the crime of it out of us.
But if the cause be not good, the king himself had the heavy reckoning to make, when all those legs and arms and heads chopped off in battle joined together at the latter day and cry, "Oh, we died at such a place!" I'm afeard few die well that die in a battle, for how can they charitably dispose of anything if blood is their argument? Now, if these men do not die well, it will be a black matter for the king that led them to it.
Every subject's duty's the king's, but every subject's soul is his own.
'Tis certain, any man that dies ill, the ill upon his own head, the king is not to answer it.
I myself heard the king say he would not be ransomed.
Aye, he said so to make us fight cheerfully, but when our throats are cut, he may be ransomed and we ne'er the wiser.
If I live to see it, I will never trust his word after.
You may as well go about to turn the sun to ice with fanning in his face with a peacock's feather. You'll never trust his word after. Come, 'tis a foolish saying.
Your reproof is something too round. I should be angry with thee if the time were convenient.
Let it be a quarrel between us if you live.
I embrace it.
How shall I know thee again?
Give me any mark of thine. If thou ever darest acknowledge it, I will make it my quarrel.
Here's my glove. Give me another of thine.
There.
If ever thou come to me after tomorrow and say, "This is my glove by this hand," I will take thee a box on the ear.
If ever I live to see it, I will challenge it.
Thou darest as well be hanged.
Well, I will do it, though I take thee in the king's company.
Keep thy word. Fare thee well.
Will it never be morning?
Will it never be day? I will trot tomorrow a mile, and my way shall be paved with English faces.
I will not say so, for fear I should be faced out of my way. But I would it were morning, for I would fain be about the ears of the English.
Who will go to hazard with me for 20 prisoners?
You must first go yourself to hazard ere you have them.
'Tis midnight, I'll go arm myself.
The Dauphin longs for morning.
He longs to eat the English.
By the white hand of my lady. He's a gallant prince.
Swear by her foot that she may tread out the oath.
He never did any harm that I heard of.
Nor will do none tomorrow. He will keep that good name still.
I know him to be valiant.
I was told that by one who knows him better than me.
My lord High Constable, the English lie within 1,500 paces of your tent.
Who hath measured the ground?
The Lord Compre.
Bowing into most expert gentlemen. What a good day. Alas, poor Harry of England. He longs not for the dawning as we do.
What a wretched and peevish fellow is this King of England. The mope of his fat-brained followers so far out of his knowledge.
If the English had any apprehension, they would run away.
Foolish curs, and run winking into the mouth of a Russian bear, have their heads crushed like rotten apples. You may as well say, that's a valiant flea that dare eat his breakfast on the lip of a lion.
Then may we find tomorrow they only have stomachs to eat and none to fight. Now is it time to arm. Come, shall we about it?
Where is the king?
The king himself has rode to view their battle.
Fighting men, they have a full 300,000.
It's 5 to 1. Besides, they're all fresh.
God's arm strike with us. There's a fearful odds. God be with you, princes all. Out to my charge. If we no more won't meet till we meet in heaven, then my kind kinsmen, warriors, all. Adieu.
Farewell, kind lord. Fight valiantly today. And yet I wrong thee to mind thee of it. Thou art framed in the firm truth of valor.
It's full of valor and kindness, princely in both.
Oh! Would that we had with us here now 1/10,000 those men who do no work today in England.
What's he that wishes so? My cousin Westmoreland. No, my fair cousin. If we are marked to die, we are enough to do our country loss. And if to live, the fewer men, the greater share of honor. By Jove, I'm not covetous for gold, nor care I who to feed upon my cost. But if it be a sin to covet honor, I am the most offending soul alive. God's peace, I would not lose so great an honor as one man more methinks would share for me, for the best hope I have. Oh, wish not one man more. Rather, proclaim it, Westmoreland, through my host, that he that hath no stomach to this fight, let him depart. His passport shall be made, and crowns for convoy put in his purse. We would not die in that man's company that fears his fellowship to die with us. This day is called the Feast of Crispian. He that outlives this day and comes safe home will stand tiptoe when this day is named, and rouse him at the name of Crispian. He that lives this day and sees old age will yearly on the vigil feast his neighbors and say, tomorrow is Crispin's day. Then will he strip his sleeve and show his scars and say, these wounds I had on Crispin's day. Old men forget, yet all shall be forgot. But he'll remember with advantages what feats he did that day. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers. For he today who sheds his blood with me shall be my brother. And gentlemen in England now abed shall think themselves accursed they were not here, and hold their manhoods cheap, whilst any speaks their thought with us upon St. Crispin's day.
My sovereign lord, bestow yourself with speed. The French are bravely in their battle set, and will with all expedients charge on us.
All things be ready if our minds be so.
Oh, perish the man whose mind is backward now.
Thou dost not wish more help from England, cuz?
Ha! Good my lord, God will, you and I alone, without more help, could fight this royal battle.
Why now thou hast unwished 5,000 men, which likes me better than to wish us one. You know your places. God be with you all.
The English are in battle, do French peers!
Now, my old Constable, to horse! You gallant princes, straight to horse! Do but behold yon poor and starved band, and your fell show shall suck away their soul, leaving but the shales and husks of men. For our approach shall so much dare the field, that England shall cast down in fear and yield!
Well have we done, thrice valiant countrymen, but all's not done. Yet keep the French the field.
The Duke of York commends him to your majesty.
Lives he, good uncle? Thrice within this hour I saw him down, and thrice up again in fighting. From helmet to spurs all blood was he.
In which array, brave soldier doth he lie, larding the plain, and by his bloody side, yoke fellow to his honor owing wounds, the noble Earl of Suffolk also lies. Suffolk died first, and York, all haggled over, comes to him where in gore he lay ensteeped, and takes him by the beard, and kisses the gashes that bloodily did spawn upon his face, and cries aloud, tarry, dear cousin Suffolk, my soul shall thine keep company to heaven. The pretty and sweet manner of it forced those waters from me, which I would have stopped, but I had not so much man in me, and all my mother came into mine eyes and gave me up to tears.
I blame thee not. For hearing this, I must force compound with misful eyes, or they will issue too. But hark, what new alarm is this? The French have reinforced their scattered men! I was not angry, since I came to France, till this instant! Take thou a trumpet, ride thou to horsemen on yon hill. If they will fight with us, bid them come down, or void the field! They do offend our sight. If they'll do neither, will to them, and make them skirl away as swift as stones in force from old Assyrian slings. Besides, not a man of them that we shall take shall taste our mercy, and will cut the throats of those we have. Go and tell them so!
Oh, Senor!
Mort de ma vie! What is confounded? All reproach and everlasting shame sits mocking in our plumes. Oh, merchant fortune, do not run away.
Well, our ranks are broke.
Oh, perdu the one shame. Let's stab ourselves. We leave the wretches that we paid the dice for.
Is this the king we sent to for his ransom?
shame. Nothing but shame. Let us die with honor once more, back again. And he that will not follow Bourbon now, let him go hence. And with cap in hand like a base pander, hold open the chamber door will spy a slave no gentler than my dog. His fairest daughter is contaminated.
We are now yet living in the field to smother up the English in our throngs. If any order might be thought upon!
The devil take order now. All to the throng. Let life be short, else shame will be too long.
Yonder comes the herald of the French, my liege.
What means this, herald? Knowst thou not that I find these bones of mine for ransom? Comest thou again for ransom?
No, great king. We come to thee for charitable license, so we may wander o'er these bloody fields to book our dead and then to bury them. To sort our nobles from our common men, for many of our princes woe the while lie drowned and soaked in mercenary blood. Will give us leave, great king, to leave the field in safety and dispose of their dead bodies.
I tell thee truly, herald, I know not if the day be ours or no, for yet many of your horsemen peer and gallop o'er the field.
The day is yours.
Praise be to God, and not our strength for it. Bring me just notice of the numbers dead, on both our parts. Here, Fluellen, wear thou this favor for me. When Alencon and myself were down together, I plucked it from his helm. If any man do challenge it, he is a friend to Alencon and enemy to our person. If thou encounters any such, apprehend him, and thou dost me love.
Your grace does me as great honors as can be desired in the hearts of his subjects. I would fain see the man that has but 2 legs, who shall find himself grieved at this glove.
Call yonder fellow hither.
Soldier, you must come to the king.
Soldier, why wearest thou that glove?
And please your majesty, this is the gage of one that I fight withal, if he be alive.
An Englishman?
And please your majesty, a rascal that swaggered with me last night, who, if alive, and ever dared to challenge this glove, I have sworn to take him a box on the ear.
What thinkst thou, Captain Fluellen? Is fit this soldier keep his oath?
He is a craven and a villain else, and it please your majesty in my conscience.
Sir, know you this glove?
Know the glove? I know the glove is a glove.
I know this. And thus, I challenge it.
God's blood! An errant traitor as any in the universal world.
Do you think I'll be forsworn?
Or in England? Stand away!
I am a traitor! How now?
Blows and warrant you!
What's the matter?
My liege, here is a villain and traitor that, look, your grace, has struck the glove which your majesty has taken out of the helmet of Alencon.
My liege, this is my glove. Here is the fellow of it. He that I gave it to in change promised to wear it. I promised to strike him if he did. I have met this man with my glove, and I have been as good as my word.
Your majesty, here now, saving your majesty's man, but what an errant, rascally, beggarly, lousy knave it is! I hope your majesty will bear me testimony and witness and will avouchment that this is the glove of Alencon which your majesty has given me.
Give me thy glove, soldier. Look! Here's the fellow of it! 'Twas I, indeed, thou promised to strike, and thou hast given me most bitter terms.
And please, your majesty, let his neck answer for it, if there's any martial law in the world.
How canst thou make me satisfaction?
All offenses, my lord, come from the heart. Never came any from mine that might offend your majesty.
'Twas ourself thou didst abuse.
Your majesty came not like yourself. You appeared to me but as a common man. Witness the night. Your garments, your lowliness, and what your highness suffered under that shape. I beseech you, take it for your own fault, not mine. For had you been as I took you for, therefore, I made no offenses. I beseech your highness, pardon me.
Come, Uncle Exeter. Fill this glove with crowns and give it to this fellow here. Keep it, fellow. Wear it for an honor in thy cap till I do challenge it. Give him the crowns. And, Captain, you must needs be friends with him.
On this day and this life, the fellow has moral enough in his belly. Hold! Here! is 12 pence for you, and I pray you to serve God and keep you out of brawls and rabbles and quarrels and dissensions, and I warrant you, it is the better for you. All right, thanks.
How are the dead numbered?
It is the number of the slaughtered French.
This note doth tell me of 10,000 French that in the field lie slain. Of nobles bearing banners, there lie dead 126. Added to this, of knights, esquires, and gallant gentlemen, there lie 8,400, of the which 500 were but yesterday dubbed knights. So that in these 10,000 they have lost, there are but 1,600 mercenaries. All the rest are barons, knights, lords, princes, squires, and gentlemen of blood and quality. Here was a royal fellowship of death. Where's the number of our English dead? The Duke of York, the Earl of Suffolk, Sir Richard Ketley, Davy Gann, Esquire, none else of name, and of all other men, but 25. Oh God, thy arm was here, and not to us, but to thy arm alone ascribe we all. When? Without stratagem, but in plain shock and even play of battle was known so great and little loss on one part and the other. Take it, God, for it is none but thine.
As yet the lamentation of the French invites the King of England to stay at home. The Emperor is coming in behalf of France to order peace between them. And amid all occurrences, whatever chanced, till Harry's back return again to France.
Peace to this meeting, wherefore we are met. Unto our brother France, and to our most fair and princely cousin Katherine, joy and good wishes. And as a branch and member of this royalty by whom this assembly is contrived, we do salute you, Duke of Burgundy. And to our princes French and peers, health to you all.
Right joyous are we to behold your face, most worthy brother England, fairly met. And so are you, princes English, every one. We are now glad to behold your eyes which hitherto had borne in them against the French that met them in their bent, the fatal balls of murdering basilisks. The venom of such looks we fairly hope hath lost their quality, and that this day shall change all griefs and quarrels into love.
To cry amen to that, thus we appear.
My duty to you both, on equal love, great kings of France and England, that I have labored with all my wits, my pains, and strong endeavors to bring your most imperial majesties unto this bar and royal view. Your mightiness on both parts can best be witness. Since then, my office hath so far prevailed that face to face and royal eye to eye you have congregated. Let it not disgrace me if I demand, before this royal view, what rub or what impediment there is, why that the naked, poor, and mangled peace should not in this best garden of the world, our fertile France, put up her lovely visage. Alas, she hath from France too long been chased, and all her husbandry doth lie in heaps, corrupting in its own fertility. I entreat that I may know why gentle peace should not expel these inconveniences, and bless us with her former qualities.
If, Duke of Burgundy, you would the peace whose want gives rise to the imperfections which you have cited, you must buy that peace, with full accord to all our just demands, whose tenors and particular effects you haven't scheduled briefly in your hands.
The king hath heard them, to the which as yet there is no answer made.
Then the peace which you before so urged lies in his answer.
We have but with cursory eye o'erglanced the articles. Please it, your grace, to appoint some of your council to sit with us once more. With better heed to resurvey them, we will suddenly pass our accept and peremptory answer.
Brother, we shall. Go, Uncle Exeter, and take with you free power to ratify, augment, or alter anything as your wisdoms best see advantageable to our dignity, anything in or out of our demands, and will consign thereto. Yet leave our cousin Katherine here with us. She is our capital demand, comprised within the forerank of our articles.
She hath good leave.
Fair Katherine, and most fair, will you vouchsafe to teach a soldier terms, such as would enter at a lady's ear and plead his love suit to her gentle heart?
Your Majesty shall mock at me. I cannot speak your England.
Oh. Fair Katherine, if you will love me soundly with your French heart, I would be glad to hear you confess it brokenly with your English tongue. Do you like me, Kate?
Pardonnez-moi, I cannot tell what is like me.
An angel is like you, Kate, and you are like an angel.
Que dis-tu? Je suis semblable aux anges? Oui, sa forte race and beauté ainsi dit-il.
I said so, Catherine, and I must not blush to affirm it.
Que les langues des hommes sont pleines de tromperies.
What says she, fair one? That the tongues of men are full of deceits?
Oui, that the tongues of demands be full of deceits.
In faith, Catherine, my wooing is fit for thy understanding. I know no ways to mince it in love, but directly to say, I love you. Then if you urge me further than to say, do you have faith, I wear out my suit. And so give me your answer. In faith do, and so clap hands in a bargain. How say you, lady?
So votre honneur, me understands well.
Mary, if you would put me to verses, or to dance for your sake, Kate, why, you undid me. For the one, I have neither words nor measure. For the other, I have no strength in measure, yet a reasonable measure of strength. If I could win a lady at leapfrog, or by vaulting into my saddle with my armor on my back, I should quickly leap into a wife. But before God, Kate, I have no cunning in protestation. Only downright oaths, which I never use till urged, nor never break for urging. If thou canst love a fellow of this temper, Kate, whose face is not worth sunburning, who never looks in his glass for love of anything he sees there, let thine eye be thy cook. I speak to thee, plain soldier. If thou canst love me for this, take me. If not, to say to thee that I shall die is true, but for thy love? By the Lord, no. Yet I love thee too. A speaker is but a prater. A rhyme is but a ballad. A good leg will fall, a straight back will stoop, a black beard will turn white, a curled pate will grow bald, a fair face will wither. But a good heart, Kate, is the sun and the moon. Or rather, the sun and not the moon, for it shines brightly and never changes, but keeps its course truly. If thou wouldst have such a one, take me, and take me, take a soldier. Take a soldier, take a king.
Is it possible that I should love the enemy of France?
No, Catherine. It is not possible that you should love the enemy of France. But in loving me, you should love the friend of France. For I love France so well that I will not part with a village of it. I will have it all mine. And, Kate, when France is mine, and I am yours, then yours is France, and you are mine.
I cannot tell what is that.
No, Kate? Then I will tell thee in French. Je compte sur les possessions de France, et vous avez les possessions de moi. Let me see what then. Let's be my speed. Donc, ventrez avec France, et vous avez mine. It's as easy for me, Catherine, to conquer the kingdom as it is to speak so much more French. I shall never move thee in French unless it be to laugh at me.
Sur votre honneur, le François que vous parlez est meilleur que la loi laquelle je parle.
No, Kate, is not. But in me speaking of thy tongue, and I of mine, we must needs be truly, falsely, as one. But canst thou understand this much English? Canst thou love me? Because I love thee. What sayest thou then? Belle, chérie, Catherine Dumont, mon très cher et défendis.
Your Majesty, those French enough to deceive the most sage demoiselle that is in France.
Fine, upon my false French, Kate. By my honor, in plain English, I love thee. By the which honor I dare not swear thou lovest me. Now, beshrew my father's ambition. He was thinking of civil wars when he got me. Thus was I born with a stubborn outside, with an aspect of iron. But when I come to woo ladies, I fright them. But Kate, my comfort is that old age, that ill layer up of beauty, can do no more spoil on my face. And thou hast me, if thou hast me, at my worst. And thou shalt wear me, if thou wear me, better and better. What sayest thou then to my love? Take me by the hand, and say, Harry of England, I am thine. With which word you will no sooner grace my ear withal, but I shall tell thee aloud, England is thine, Ireland is thine, France is thine, and Harry Plantagenet is thine.
That is as it shall please the roi mon père.
Nay, it will please him well, Kate. It shall please him, Kate.
Then it shall also content me.
Upon which I kiss your hand and call you my queen.
Laissez, monseigneur, laissez, je ne veux point que vous émettez votre grave maison la main de votre indigne serviteur. Je vous supplie, excusez-moi, montrez que monseigneur.
Then I will kiss your lips, Kate.
Prête à baiser des valentons, s'il n'est pas de costume de France.
Madam Interpreter, what says she?
That it is not the fashion for the ladies of France. I cannot tell what is baiser in English.
To kiss.
Your Majesty entendre better que moi.
It is not the fashion for the maids of France to kiss before they are married. Oh, Catherine. Nice customs curtsy to great kings. You and I cannot be confined within the weak list of a country's fashion. We are the makers of manners, Kate. You have witchcraft in your lips, Kate. And there's more eloquence and a sugar touch of them than in the tongues of the French council. And they shall soon persuade Harry of England than a general petition of monarchs.
God save your Majesty!
Here comes your father!
My royal cousin teach you our princess English?
I would have her learn, fair cousin, how perfectly I love her. And that's good English. But what says my cousin? Shall Catherine be my wife?
So please you?
We have consented to all terms of reason.
Is so, my lords of England?
The king hath granted every article, his daughter first, and in sequel all according to their firm proposed natures.
I pray you then, in love and dear alliance, give me your daughter.
Take her, fair son, and from her blood raise up issue to me, of the contending kingdoms of England and France, whose very shores look pale with envy of each other's happiness, may cease their hatred, and that from this dear conjuncture plant neighborhood in Christian-like accord in their sweet bosoms, that never again war advance her bleeding sword twixt England and fair France.
God, the best maker of all marriages, combine your hearts in one, your rounds in one. As man and wife, being two, are one in love, so be there twixt your kingdoms such a spousal, that never may ill office or fell jealousy, which troubles off the bed of blessed marriage, thrust in between the paction of these kingdoms, to make divorce of their incorporate league, that English may, as French Englishmen, receive each other. God speak this, Amen.
Prepare we for our marriage, on the which day my Duke of Burgundy will take your oath. Then will I swear to Kate, and you to me. And may our oaths well kept and prosperous be.
Huzzah!